Will the job be done right? So remember, paying for quality only hurts once, but it does feel good when you get what you expect. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
The Bucks are almost out of the woods, or mountains, of their West Coast trip against the Nuggets.
Spin move by Giannis in the big one-hand flush. He was a blur taking it down the lane, and the Greek Freak is putting on a show.
Our coverage starts tonight at 7:30. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Jessica Tighe. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Wednesday, March 26. Your top story, confusion over what was classified in the group chat.
I'm Adam Roberts in for Greg Matzik. A body found at an abandoned Milwaukee mall.
Checking out your forecast today, partly cloudy, high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Pretty nice day out there. Tonight, mostly cloudy, an isolated shower late, a low of 36. It's currently 37 degrees in Milwaukee. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, the big story right now, the text messages are out, and you can read them. The Atlantic magazine published the details of the group chat between top cabinet members discussing attack plans in Yemen.
The White House continues to push back on the reporting by The Atlantic. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt writing on social media, quote, "These were not war plans." National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who took responsibility for building the Signal group chat, writes in a post online, quote, "No locations, no sources and methods, no war plans." The newly released messages include a text from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth that details specific times in the order of planned U.S. strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. Experts say this kind of information is highly classified and protected. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Another story we're keeping our eye on today, the Supreme Court has upheld a Biden administration rule banning so-called ghost guns. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
The High Court holds that the ATF can ban do-it-yourself ghost gun kits with a rule. Conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote the majority opinion, finding that the unfinished frames and receivers of the kits can be regulated under the 1968 Gun Control Act. Two of Gorsuch's conservative colleagues, Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito, each wrote separate dissents, with Thomas arguing that only Congress can ban the sale of the kits.
The rule came as ghost guns were increasingly found at crime scenes across the country.
Investigating a death at an old Milwaukee mall. Police found a body yesterday inside a vacant building at Fond du Lac and North on Milwaukee's northwest side. It was identified as 65-year-old Jeffrey Moline. The cause of his death is still under investigation. Police do not suspect foul play.
Decision Wisconsin, the candidates for state superintendent continuing to make their push ahead of the April 1st election.
Candidates say they're focused on making sure that students are well trained in reading proficiency, especially in urban communities like Milwaukee that have seen large learning gaps. Candidate Brittany Kinzer.
We have to make sure that we're using research and evidence-based curriculum, and we have to make sure that our teachers are trained, they've been educated on how to teach phonics.
Incumbent candidate Dr. Jill Underley.
High standards for literacy and math, absolutely. High quality instruction, early childhood programming, special education, well-trained teachers, passionate teachers, after-school programs. We know what works.
Sean Brenda, WTMJ News.
American Family Field will use new technology this season to shorten lines. How great does that sound? Go-Ahead Entry is a facial recognition scan that creates a seamless entry experience.
You'll be able to keep your phone in your pocket. It will validate your ticket based on your facial authentication. You'll walk through screening. If you don't have a bag, you'd continue to keep your phone in your pocket. You don't have to divest anything and walk through screening, and it'll take seconds. It takes seconds to enroll, and it takes seconds to enter.
Go-Ahead Entry will be available Monday for the Brewers home opener.
Time now for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Some modest gains yesterday for the majors, not so much today. The Dow is off 47 points this hour at 42,541. The NASDAQ, meanwhile, down over 300 points, over 1.5% at 17,968. And the S&P 500 is down 50 at 5,727. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com.
The countdown is on for the start of baseball's regular season. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
He's Donald Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk. And now Musk is trying to buy Brad Schimmel a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Because Musk knows when you buy Schimmel, he'll do whatever you want. Like when Schimmel gave a plea deal to a man caught with child porn after the man's lawyer gave Schimmel thousands of dollars. And Schimmel will ban abortion with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of the mother. Deeply corrupt and totally extreme. That's the real Brad Schimmel. There's a better choice.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as the judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars.
Protecting your family and your most basic rights. That's Judge Susan Crawford.
And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will.
So on April 1st, vote for Judge Susan Crawford, Supreme Court. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The countdown is on to the start of baseball's regular season. The Brewers face the Yankees tomorrow afternoon for the first of 3 games in the Bronx. Freddie Peralta gets the start for the Brew Crew. And the Milwaukee Bucks wrap up their Western Conference road trip tonight in Denver against the Nuggets. Damian Lillard, unfortunately, is out. He's dealing with a blood clot in his right calf. Bucks coverage starts tonight at 7:30, right here on WTMJ.
Let's check the roads now. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Good news if today is your time to get out and about. It is a great midday to start your drive. No major incidents or delays. The only one is just a broken down vehicle on the exit to Ryan Road from 94 South. Other than that, we are free and clear this Wednesday morning.
And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, partly cloudy, high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Maybe an isolated shower some of you will see, low of 36. Tomorrow, isolated showers in the morning, mostly cloudy otherwise, high of 53. On Friday, there's another chance for rain in the morning hours and maybe even a storm or two. Dry, though, in the later hours, high of 68 by the lake, 72 inland. Saturday, a chance for showers again, falling temperatures, a high of 58. Sunday, a chance for showers and maybe even a mix is possible at night, a high of 44. It's currently 37 degrees in Milwaukee.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Tighe, and in for Greg Metzik, it's Adam Roberts.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Middle of the work week now. Adam, we thank you for filling in while Greg is enjoying spring break with the family. It's that time of the year.
Yeah, Greg, the family man. I know his daughter did the sports on the show a couple of days ago. Good for Greg to get some time off.
She did. She was fabulous. And yeah, they're going to have a wonderful time. And he will be back on Monday just in time for the Brewers home opener. We've got a big show for you today. Coming up from A to Z, the airports to the zoo. The county executive is going to join us fresh off his State of the County address to talk about the partnerships playing a key role in Milwaukee County right now. Also coming up, a Milwaukee business gets a nomination for Best in the Country. Yes, the best of the best. Who's celebrating and how you can help them secure the top spot. Also, fire Elon, save Elmo. But first.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, the text messages are out. The Atlantic magazine published screenshots of all the messages from a Signal chat involving top national security officials. The messages show that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth disclosed exact times and locations of the recent strikes in Yemen. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, was inadvertently included on that chat. CBS's Ed O'Keefe explains why the Atlantic decided to publish these messages.
Goldberg initially declined to publish these details on Monday, citing national security concerns. But ever since, the president and other senior administration officials have said the information wasn't classified, and they don't think this was a big deal. Now the Atlantic is publishing it to show people what exactly the defense secretary was sharing.
So how did the editor of The Atlantic end up in that chat? That's the big question a lot of us have right now. Here's what we know today.
National Security Advisor Mike Waltz took responsibility for including Jeffrey Goldberg in the group text, but says he's not entirely sure how he was added, trying to suggest now that Goldberg somehow found his way into the group, which is technologically impossible the way Signal works.
The administration downplayed the significance of these messages. Today, Vice President Vance posted on Truth Social that Goldberg was, quote, oversold what he had.
All right.
We'll let you be the judge of that when you read them all.
For sure. Number 2, there's something in the water in a Manitowoc County village that definitely shouldn't be. Arsenic. We're talking about the village of Cleveland here. Population just under 1,600 north of the county line with Sheboygan County. A public works department there says back in 2024, during a water quality survey, a resident reported that test results which were conducted for them by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel had showed arsenic levels in their drinking water around 52 parts per billion. For a reference point, Jessica, the EPA has a limit at 10 parts per billion, so about 5 times the limit there.
Wow.
Now, Deputy Director of Public Works, Chris Jost, spoke with me earlier this week, told me a follow-up test 1 month earlier showed acceptable arsenic levels below that 10 mark. But where did that arsenic come from? That's the big question. Well, Jost tells me iron within the water distribution system could be the source.
I reviewed several studies and found that arsenic has a high affinity for iron. So if we have iron that gets oxidized out of the water, then arsenic can bind to it, and any sort of disturbance in the pipe that could cause those iron deposits to break loose in the piping system could end up in somebody's tap.
So now, on April 8th, the village board will consider a proposal from an engineer that targets that source. They're currently compiling price points for a study and flushing problem areas weekly. I'm reminded a lot of back when I was in La Crosse 6 years ago. There was the PFAS situation, the chemical situation. Jessica, you're familiar with French Island.
Yes, from my La Crosse days. I was not there during this time, but I do remember it.
That still, by the way, is an ongoing drinking advisory 6 years later. They're still not able, many of those residents, to drink out of their tap and drinking from giant jugs that they have at their house. So we'll follow that, obviously, and also this ongoing situation in Cleveland.
Well, from what's in the water to wine. How much is that glass of wine going to cost? Small business owners are frustrated and fearful of tariff threats. Now the talk moves to the Pinot and Cab. Wait until you hear how much a glass of wine could cost at your next dinner out.
Wine wholesalers nationwide are worried about the 200% tariffs President Trump wants to impose on European wines. Harry Root is the owner of Grassroots Wine in Charleston, South Carolina, and says he'll have no choice, if it passes, to pass that cost on to restaurants who buy his wine will then pass it on to you.
I mean, it makes the wines unmarketable. I mean, if whatever you're paying for a glass of Pinot Grigio at your favorite restaurant is probably $10, $12, you would be paying $36 for it.
He calls the 200% tariff on any product devastating. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
$36 for a glass of wine. Yeah, that's not happening.
No, thank you.
Wow, when I heard that, $36, yikes.
Better be good wine.
What's the most you paid for a drink?
I'm pretty sure one time when I was on spring break in Florida, there was a bar that was selling a specialty one out of one of those giant ones you have to
like a yard.
hold with 2 hands for, I think, maybe $35, something like that. But certainly not a glass half full of wine.
I don't remember how much it was, but I did pay a ridiculous amount once for a glass of champagne at the Miami Open.
Okay.
Welcome to Miami, right? That's why we like Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
Well, stay with us. Coming up, the advice right now for anyone who used any genetic testing company, not just 23andMe.
The only place to get this.
3 in the corner, and he hit it with a foul!
splashes it down, and Kuz to the rescue.
With some of this.
Bucks as a team missed 9 free throws in this game. Giannis goes 6 of 13, and you as a team go 20 of 29. I mean, free throws are big at any point in the game and in any game.
Get it all on Bucks Talk, your all-encompassing Milwaukee Bucks postgame show. Only heard here on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Gruber Law Offices, Thanasis Live is back March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Antetokounmpo for a live show that's going to entertain fans like no other. Last year, do you remember this? Thanasis surprised MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, his bro, with a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. So you never know what Thanasis has planned for this year. March 29th, it is at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Thanasis Live with Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Get your tickets to Gruber Law Offices. Thanasis Live right now. Visit TALiveshow.com to get your tickets. Excitement and entertainment you can't get anywhere else. It's Gruber Law Offices, Thanasis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbliss, featuring Brandon Jennings and a surprise guest. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's. TALiveshow.com.
Don't think twice. Call Geis. For 70 years, Geis has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. WTMJ's Greg Matzik here. Don't let a busted garage door get you down. Call my friends at Geis today. With brands like CHI and LiftMaster, they have doors for every budget and will even build custom designs to meet your exact needs. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, go to GeisDoors.com. You can also visit their amazing showroom in Brookfield and their custom design room.
Don't think twice. Call Geis.
Pastor Tim Butker here, inviting you to join us each week for Christian Crusaders. The Bible tells the greatest story ever told, one of hope, redemption, and new life. As we journey through a Bible overview and head towards Easter, we remember the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who conquered sin and the grave for us all. Grow in faith with us as we open the all-powerful Word of God. Tune in Sundays at 6 a.m. on WTMJ.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@WTMJ.com to learn more.
You're here to understand what 23andMe is all about, right?
What do I do now? That's the question a lot of people are asking today in the wake of genetic testing company 23andMe filing for bankruptcy. The company has the personal information and DNA of millions of people. ABC News investigative reporter Peter Haralambos joins us to answer some key questions. Good morning, Peter.
Morning. Thanks so much for having me.
At this point, can 23andMe protect all that data?
Yeah, that's the big open question here. 23andMe is vowing to protect the data privacy of all their customers' information, but it might become an issue that's kind of out of their control. Their share price is cratered. They were once valued at more than $6 billion. They're now trading at less than $1 a share. And if this company is sold for parts or if there's new leadership, it's hard to say what's going to happen to all this data. So attorneys general in states like California and New York are advising that anyone who's used these kind of services log into their accounts and delete their data before that's out of their control.
So you go in and delete your data. It's not something that you write a letter or you send off an email and say, please delete this. You actually delete it yourself?
You were able to do it through their online system, though there are a few steps. You have to log into your account, go to your settings. You have to find the section related to the data retention policy and say that you want to permanently delete your data. Really, the big sticky point here is you're going to get an email at some point after you click the button to delete your data, confirming that you want to do that. Keep an eye out for that email. Make sure you reply to that because that's the final step before they actually delete the data. If you miss that email, if you don't respond, it's possible that they keep retaining the information and you don't actually follow through with that requested step.
Okay, that's good to know. So data is one thing. Your address, your this, your that. But DNA is a whole other ballgame. Can you ask for the DNA samples to be destroyed?
You can ask for the DNA samples to be destroyed. And these attorneys general are saying that at the moment that's really a vital step, given the uncertainty with this company and how sensitive that information might be. We talk a lot about data security, addresses, social security numbers, bank numbers, and of course we're familiar with that. But this DNA information is kind of uncharted territory in a way. If this information is sold to a company that is trying to profit off it in whatever way, if it's sold to an insurance company that is now aware of your genetic, disposition and your potential vulnerability to some kind of illness, that could be really harmful in the future to be out there and really dangerous in terms of your long-term financial and health outlook.
And is there any guarantee that the company will destroy the samples, or are we just trusting them?
At the end of the day, you have to trust that they're actually going to do that. For now, given the fact that the company is still under the same management, this company is still vowing to protect this data, I think it's safe to assume they're actually going to carry through with that. However, if this company were to file for if this company were to be sold for parts, right, the most valuable thing is their repository of DNA. So it's safe to think that if this company does actually get sold off or broken apart, this data repository is really its most valuable asset and something you should be concerned about if you've actually used it in the past. For now, since it's under management we're aware of that is vowing to protect data privacy, this is the time to request the data be deleted.
We're talking with ABC News investigative reporter Peter Haralambous in the wake of 23andMe, the genetic testing company filing for bankruptcy. Let's step back for a moment, because I bet there's some people listening who have never ventured into this, who are like, how does the company even get the DNA? I know I went through Ancestry, and I had to spit into a little tube. How do people do it for 23andMe?
23andMe is the same system where you're kind of spitting into a tube and you're sending it to their headquarters. I mean, for what it's worth, 23andMe was a very innovative company. They've been around for years. They were one of these Silicon Valley unicorns. At one point when they went public, they were valued at more than $6 billion. And to their credit, they've really brought down the price of that kind of genetic testing. It's something that used to cost $1,000 per sample. Under 23andMe's approach, they've brought that down to about $100 per sample, and really hoped to bring in a new age of individuals knowing their potential vulnerability to future illnesses and taking preemptive steps to address that. The problem is they found that the only way they make money is that first DNA test, and after that, it's hard for them really to profit.
It makes sense. Yeah. What about the people who didn't use 23andMe? I mentioned I did Ancestry. My mom convinced me to do it. A bunch of people in the family did. That was years ago. I still get emails. I think on Sunday I got one that said, guess what, Jessica? You've got a new DNA relative. It brought a wealth of information that was fascinating. But I know I'm wondering, and I imagine a lot of other people are who use different companies, if there's something that we should be doing, even though we're not involved in 23andMe, just in case something like this were to happen to Ancestry or one of the other companies.
No, that's a great point. I mean, at the end of the day, Ancestry is in slightly better financial position than 23andMe, but this concern about data privacy, applies to basically any of these companies. For example, if these companies were to get hacked, and we've seen this in the past with 23andMe, where a hacking group was able to access the data of thousands of Ashkenazi Jews, for example, last year. That becomes a vulnerability and a potential threat to any customer. So if you do have these concerns, and if you don't really see that much of a value in having this company retain your data, there's nothing stopping you from logging into Ancestry.com, for example, and requesting the same kind of deletion of your data just in case. We live in a scary digital world nowadays, and all things considered, it might be wise at this point just to take preemptive action.
And what are the next steps here? Does it look like 23andMe is going to get sold?
It's hard to say. The company's insisting they want to go private. They're pushing for that, but the company's been going through internal turmoil. It's lost its board of directors. Its CEO is kind of on a one-person mission to save the company, and it might be too far gone. So there is a world at the end of the day where this company does not recover, that it basically gets sold for parts. We'll have to keep an eye on that over the next few months. But for now, they're really in uncertain waters, and for customers who are concerned, this is really the time to take action.
Yeah, this just seems like a privacy nightmare, and I think there are some people who are saying, and that's exactly why I didn't do it.
I hate to say it, I'm kind of glad I didn't, though. I'm talking to my parents who did Ancestry just like you and reminding them of what they might want to do.
Good stuff. ABC News investigative reporter Peter Haralambous, thanks for sharing those key details.
Thanks so much for having me.
Your reports are in, and your genetic journey is about to begin.
My genetic journey has been going on for years now, ever since I did the Ancestry thing. And I didn't even really plan to do it. My mom really wanted us to do it, and I was interested. I did have a couple of concerns, but I also thought this would be fascinating to get all the wealth of information. And there was a ton of information that they provided you.
Yeah, I remember years ago, my younger sister was doing a project for school where she had to build out our family tree on my mom's side. And I seem to recall, whether it was 23andMe or Ancestry.com, I think part of that was helpful in that process. But she had to go through a lot of family books and family photos. So it's easy to see where something like that could be really helpful, but also, as we're learning now, there's a downside to everything.
Yeah, I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for doing it because I didn't really need to do it. And even though it provides so much information, there was so much that I didn't take the time to go through it. I kind of set it aside and said, wow, this is awesome. I'm going to get to this on a weekend. And then weekends go by and you never really go back to it. But my mom was really pumped about it. In fact, I remember she sent me a text message. Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? I'm like, Mom, I was working. I haven't done it yet. But I do. I can actually remember myself in the kitchen kind of opening up that little container and then spitting in and putting it out and sending in the mail and waiting for those results.
So just hearing that, like, oh, I just spit into a vial and send it in the mail. Just hearing that back now, it makes you, that was a little weird, wasn't it?
Right.
A little odd.
Well, we have another big half hour coming up, fresh off of his State of the County address. The county executive will join us here. We're going to talk about investing in justice, why Milwaukee County can't wait any longer. Also, your top local news.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
you can't beat Burkhart.
If you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service,
you can't beat Burkhart.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your AccuNet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Looking to transform your home with custom blinds designed to fit your style and needs? Connect with Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee. WTMJ's Greg Matzik here. Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee offers the best in roller shades, draperies, shutters, custom blinds, expert advice, stress-free installation. That's the difference with Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee. A free consultation awaits. Call 414-209-9600. High-quality blinds, professional guidance, and stress-free installation. Bumblebee Blinds Milwaukee.
Please, please, please. Hear that? That's shady Brad Schimmel on his knees begging for money from wealthy billionaires who want to buy Wisconsin's Supreme Court.
I have to crawl around begging people.
And the more Brad Schimmel begs,
please, please, please,
the more they shell out. Because everyone knows shady Brad Schimmel is for sale.
I have to crawl around begging people.
After all, Schimmel cut a crooked plea deal with a man caught with child pornography. After his lawyer gave Schimmel thousands in campaign cash. What could have been a 25-year sentence was dropped to just 3 years for that sick predator. So it's no wonder billionaires want shady Brad Schimmel on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. They've seen Schimmel help his campaign donors, just like he did for that criminal's lawyer.
I have to invest in knee pads.
Brad Schimmel, if you're listening, get up off your knees. You're embarrassing yourself. Paid for by the Justice Project.
Please, please, please.
Not authorized by any candidate or candidate's agent or committee.
Please, please, please.
The Mind Chef's Wednesday all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry is $7.99. Kids 5 and under eat free from the kids menu. Just walk in today for your $7.99 Wednesday fish fry. That's amazing. MindChefRestaurant.com.
Are you concerned with AMD? Now protecting your eyes is easier thanks to New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements, available now at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com.
It's 11:30. I'm Jessica Tighe. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Wednesday, March 26. Your top story: a morning shooting leaves one person dead.
I'm Adam Roberts. Multiple banks closing branches.
Pretty nice day outside today. Partly cloudy, just a few clouds out there. We have a high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Some of you might see an isolated rain shower or two, low of 36. Tomorrow, isolated rain in the morning hours, mostly cloudy otherwise, at a high of 53. It is currently up to 38 degrees in Milwaukee.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Defense and top intel officials taking part in that text chat that accidentally included a journalist while they discussed U.S. strikes on Houthi rebels maintain that no classified information was discussed. ABC News contributor and former Defense Department official Mick Mulroy says that text chain published by the journalist mistakenly invited to the chat shows the dangers of using an app like Signal.
This is clearly taken from classified information about the order of battle in an ongoing operation. So next to covert operations or nuclear operations, this is the most sensitive information that the U.S. possesses.
Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro will stand trial in 2025 for the alleged coup attempt in 2023. That after a Supreme Court panel today in Brazil accepted the accusations against him. Rare protests taking place inside Gaza today against Hamas. Israel also signaling it could ramp up military operations in Gaza. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:31.
One person is dead after a morning shooting on Milwaukee's northwest side. Happened just before 9 this morning at 81st and Hope. A 23-year-old pointed a gun at another man who then pulled out his own gun and fired. The 23-year-old died right there at the scene. Turns out the gun he had was a toy. A 24-year-old was arrested.
A man has been charged with felony burglary in an officer-involved shooting. 34-year-old Orlando Lagar tried to break into a warehouse March 8th near 32nd and Villard that's on Milwaukee's north side. Police chased him down and a 41-year-old man as well, shooting at both along the train tracks near 37th and Lancaster. The 41-year-old man died while Lagar is being held on $1,500 bond.
The longtime city attorney in Sheboygan has stepped down from his post. Charles Adams told the city administrator of his decision to retire last week. This follows a city council meeting last week where members discussed a report related to Adams' conduct and performance. An outside group did that report. The city says it won't take any formal action on the information discussed in that closed session. Adams has been a city attorney since 2015.
Multiple banks are closing branches across Wisconsin. In our area, this means the U.S. Bank location at 26th and Wisconsin in Milwaukee is set to close May 7th, while the branch inside the St. Camillus Retirement Center at 102nd and Blue Mound will close on April 6th. The Wells Fargo Bank location in downtown Milwaukee at the 100 East building also set to close. That will be June 11th, while the Chase Bank at Packard and Layton and Cudahy will be relocating a mile away. 7 bank branches in total in the state set to close, with over 320 branches nationwide shutting down.
Opening day is less than a week away now. This season, the Brewers have a new concession area that's all about food trucks. Brewers President for Business Operations Rick Schlesinger tells us what's on the menu.
We've got... I just went there today, and it's all ready to go for opening day, which is always nice when you announce something and it's ready to go. It's going to be great. We've got food trucks, we've got Italian food, we've got tacos, we've got some steak sandwiches, we've got gelato, we've got a really nice bar.
All kinds of stuff. The Brewers face the Kansas City Royals Monday for the home opener.
Bucks back at it tonight. We'll have that plus the roads in your 5-day forecast next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 11:33.
Loyalty, family,
Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handle all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
The Census Bureau says more than 12,000 Americans turn 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. Some Annex clients retire early. Some keep working because they love it. You know why? Because they've got custom plans built by fee-only fiduciaries. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work. We want to do the same for you. Annex does financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit AnnexWealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Vince Vitrano for Connect Chiropractic. Winter shoveling, hibernating, being a couch potato, Chiropractic can help bring back your energy. Headaches, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain. How quickly you can see results will vary from person to person, but time and repetition is key to staying on the right track. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. At Connect Chiropractic, they use an instrument called the Integrator that allows them to be gentle and specific with all their adjustments. New location coming soon to Oak Creek. Get started at GoConnectChiro.com.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. The countdown is on to the start of baseball's regular season. The Milwaukee Brewers face the Yankees tomorrow afternoon for the first of 3 games in the Bronx. Freddie Peralta gets the start for the Brew Crew. And the Milwaukee Bucks wrap up their Western Conference road trip tonight in Denver, playing the Nuggets. Damian Lillard, unfortunately, is out. We hate to hear this news. He's dealing with a blood clot in his right calf. Bucks coverage starts tonight at 7:30, right here on WTMJ.
Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. We've got a broken down van right in between where you get off of Lincoln Memorial Drive and head onto 794 going west towards the Marquette. It's right in the middle of those lanes. And as I'm speaking now, we got a white tow truck getting that van up on out of here. So that should be taken care of in a matter of minutes now. Otherwise, drive times are looking good across the system. No other incidents or delays on the board.
And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Lovely day out there. Little chilly, but just a few clouds right now. We have a high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Tonight, mostly cloudy. Some of you might see a shower. We'll dip down to 36 for the low. Tomorrow, showers in the morning, but not for everybody. Mostly cloudy otherwise, high of 53. We have another chance for rain on Friday, maybe a storm or two as well, but it'll be dry in the afternoon hours and into the evening. High of 68 on Friday by the lake, 72 inland. Saturday, another chance for rain, so keep that umbrella handy. Falling temps, high of only 58. Sunday, chance for showers again, and maybe even a mix. Yes, it's still that time of the year in Wisconsin. We could see a mix Sunday. High of 44. It's currently 38 degrees in downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley just ramped up his 2025 State of the County address. Partnerships were a big part of this year's speech. How teaming up with others is bringing results for people who live in Milwaukee County. And fresh off of his speech, the county executive joins us live in the studio. Thanks for being here on such a busy day.
Well, it's such a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for inviting me.
So during today's State of the County address, you highlighted the partnerships from A to Z, from the airport to the zoo, that have created opportunities for workers and families. Out of all those partnerships, and I know this is kind of tough because it's a little bit like picking your favorite child, but there's so much that you talked about today. If you chose one that has made the most impact or that will make the most impact moving forward, which one would it be and why?
Wow, that is a tough question to answer. And it is like, picking between my girls and what's my favorite child. But, I think about particularly what the work that we have done around affordable housing. When you think about the investments that we have made, close to $45 million in affordable housing for individuals who are either experiencing homelessness in our community or where they're looking for home ownership opportunities. And one of the reasons why I'm really excited about it is that it's not just happening, in the urban centers of Milwaukee County. It's happening in many of our suburban neighborhoods as well. And we have 7 municipalities who've decided to take on many of these projects and really be a leader and really excited, but glad of the partnerships and collaboration that we have built up to help build our community.
I know one of those projects is going on right now in Oak Creek on a lot of vacant land that's being converted to single-family homes, which is so important, County Executive, because I speak as the younger generation coming up now and exploring, okay, what exists for me as a first-time home buyer, and it can be a pretty murky market. As you look to the future of the county, map out however many years you want to, what does the housing market look like in your future crystal ball if you had to gaze into it?
Well, the only way that we'll have a greater future for our housing market is if we strengthen those partnerships and collaborations that I spoke about today. It's going to take partnerships with both the state and federal government to make sure that we're bringing these resources down. We were able to utilize a lot of the federal funding that Milwaukee County received through the American Rescue Plan Act to make these investments. But we've also been able to partner with folks like United States Senator Tammy Baldwin, Congresswoman Gwen Moore, for them to find congressional direct spending to bring back to Milwaukee County. But as we move forward, I have to be honest that this is going to be a challenging environment for all of us as it relates to housing. But we have to tackle housing from two fronts. We have to tackle it from the affordability side for individuals who can't quite afford to live in certain neighborhoods. But we also have to target the market rate side as well, because there are individuals who are making enough money to pay and rent on their own or buy their own home. But unfortunately, we just don't have the housing stock. So as we look into my crystal ball, and as an elected official, that's something that we don't like to necessarily do. But as I look to the future, it's going to be challenging. But I'm optimistic because I believe that there are great opportunities for us to continue to work with Congress to show why housing and supportive services types of policies will be incredibly important, not just for Milwaukee, but for our state and this country.
I saw the other day, it was on LinkedIn, I think. It was a picture that somebody had created, and they kind of pushed parts of the county together. And to be honest, it really focused mostly on the city, but Milwaukee is a big part of Milwaukee County. And it showed all of the towers downtown, and it looked beautiful and looked out to the lake. And then it showed just some dilapidated buildings on the north side. And it was kind of like, if you look at this and if you just focus on the downtown area, you often forget about what's happening over here. How do you, moving forward, make sure that the entire county thrives?
Well, that is the goal. It's about making sure that no matter what zip code, what municipality that you live in, that we provide opportunities for those who live there or who have the potential in moving into these communities. And so the partnerships that we have been creating are with those local municipalities. I think about folks like Mayor John Nelson from Franklin, partnering up on an affordable housing project, particularly for adults with developmental disabilities or who may have autism. That's a particular service where we can wrap around services. Then you have, Mayor Dan Bukiewicz. He talked about the single-family affordable home ownership opportunities that we're creating in Oak Creek. And I think that as long as we continue to focus on how we leverage all of our resources together, that's how we're going to continue to move forward. But again, we have to make sure that we're managing the expectations. We know that we've heard about potential cuts when it comes down to many of the federal grants that we have received at Milwaukee County. We haven't been hit hard as of right now or lately, but we're going to be monitoring that moving forward. But again, that's why we're talking about partnerships and collaboration, because it's going to take all of our communities to come together to tackle this issue.
Not hit yet, but I think that's something that so many people are thinking about, whether it's from federal cuts in government to the tariffs. People are saying, we're worried now about what might happen. How concerned are you? You're not seeing them yet,
but it doesn't mean, but I am still concerned. And I will tell you, just a couple weeks ago, I was just in Washington, D.C., talking with Republicans and Democrats about many different issues facing Milwaukee County. But I'm also the chairman of the Large Urban Counties Caucus nationwide, which is a part of a national association of counties, a nonpartisan group really bringing issues that directly affect us. And again, when we talk about housing, when we talk about mental health, when we talk about public transit, none of these things are partisan issues. These are quality of life issues for local municipal leaders like myself. And I think that right now we have a story to tell, but we are also bringing these concerns to the federal government. And so as we continue to have these conversations, it is my goal that we'll receive some level of answers, have some level of a strategic plan in place at the federal level so we can eliminate a lot of the angst that folks like myself and other municipal leaders are having.
Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley with us on Wisconsin's Midday News. So in your State of the County address today, one of the key points that I took away was how much you said we need to look at the removal of our public safety building downtown. I was actually just over in that building today working on a case that I'm reporting on, and it's pretty much an eyesore. It's an old building. It's been around for years. And just on a side note, the HVAC something needs to be done. It is
absolutely.
so hot inside that building. I feel
it's either too hot or too cold, right?
Exactly. So now as we look to the future, that's a big undertaking for the county. What must happen to ensure this project, whatever the removal replacement looks like, comes to fruition?
Yeah, and so folks understand we're talking about a 100-year-old building that's older than our actual courthouse that houses many of our criminal courts and other related functions. And so in order to replace and remove this building, it's going to take partnerships. 80% of our tax levy here within Milwaukee County is consumed by state mandated services. And these are mandated services that we're happily to take care of. But it forces us not to be able to make investments in capital projects or in our non-mandated service areas like public transit parks and things of that nature. And so we're talking about a generational investment. This building will cost close to $500 million. And to put that in perspective, a couple years ago, it was costing us $200 million. And so the more and more we continue to kick this expensive can down the line, it's going to become more expensive for our local taxpayers. So my goal is to create a greater partnership. I want to say thank you to Governor Tony Evers because he put $25 million in his capital project to go towards this budget. But we know that we have to continue to partner with the governor as well as the state legislature to see if there are resources or creative ways to help finance this building moving forward.
You mentioned the state legislators. The budget proposal has to obviously go through the Joint Finance Committee, and they've suggested there's a lot of axing that's going to happen with the governor's budget. What's the plan forward for this building if the $25 million is removed?
Well, I will tell you that we have been planning for this for a while now. We've had legislators on both sides of the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, actually come and tour to see what is going on in this building. They see how defendants, victims, family members, our staff, our judges, they're all sharing the same hallways and elevators, which causes for some public safety concerns and can cause some mistrials as we move forward. And so as we can begin to tell our story and as legislators come through our building, many who have visiting for the very first time to the Milwaukee County Courthouse, they're understanding that there's no way that we can deliver justice swiftly and quickly for those that we represent if we're going to be having this building as it's currently designed. It is not helping us do the job that we were set out to do.
I remember reporting in that courthouse and being next to families and victims, and it all did seem so close. I remember a few years ago reporting for jury duty, and I think I had to take a long walk, which I was fine with, but some of the older people, they just really, they couldn't do it. It was a hardship. Some people, though, listening, have never spent a day in any of these facilities. So can you kind of just describe, kind of take us in and tell us how the experience is at the courthouse? You mentioned a couple of things, but is it true that in some cases these buildings are actually causing delays in trials because of what's happening inside?
Oh, absolutely. These buildings can cause delays. I'll give you a few different examples. One, if there's a defendant talking with their lawyer, we don't have private spaces for people to meet. And so they actually have to meet on top of a garbage can, laying out their portfolio to basically have a conversation, which can cause an issue because if a juror, for example, is walking by while that defendant is talking to a lawyer, that can cause a mistrial. You mentioned the walk, right? We talk about the walk that jurors have to take from leaving that jury room and going to that courthouse. But there's also a huge walk that many of our defendants also have to take. And then we only have one service elevator that these defendants can actually use. And so if that service elevator is out, right, that means that defendant then has to go on one of the public elevators, right? Meaning that everybody on that public elevator then has to come off because that defendant has priority. But if there's a 10, 15-minute delay, it's not like the judge is saying, all right, I'm going to see you tomorrow. No, you get kicked back at the end of the line on that schedule. And right now, that's about another 4-month wait, which means that we now have to pay for housing that individual, the medical costs in the jail, so on and so forth, while also making sure to continue to support our court operations. So when you think about the amount of resources that we're spending, we know what we can save just by looking at the design of this building. And I'll give you this last point. We had to double check these numbers because we have 10 floors of jail space that is unusable. The old county jail and the old city jail is inside the public safety building. By removing and replacing this building, we can save $40 million alone in utility costs over 20 years just by having a new updated building, because we have to heat and cool off that space that is not being used, which in turn not only makes us spend more money, but then there's other colder or warmer places throughout the complex.
Saving money, but of course, we got to spend the money to do it. You mentioned Governor Tony Evers proposed $25 million for the project, but the latest estimate is close to $500 million. That's a lot of money. I know when it comes to my property taxes, 14 cents of every dollar is going to the county. I always have this little handy, my little sheet. Check it out. The county sales tax has seen an increase as well. Mm-hmm. Are these numbers going to go up even more? How is the county going to get more money to fill in that space?
Well, that's why we're having these conversations with the state legislators as well as the governor's office. And I think that we can find some creative ways to actually finance this building. One, we know that the state of Wisconsin is sitting on a surplus. Is there ways that we can go after those dollars, or are there ways for us to look at cost-sharing opportunities as we look at all the different services and programs that we offer? And so, I think that right now it's about how do we identify creative solutions, but I also think it's important to get the community voice involved. And so I want to take this moment to let folks know that we have been doing a community listening sessions. And we're going to have our final community listening session tonight at Turner Hall Ballroom. And it's going to be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The address is 1040 North Vale Phillips Avenue. And there will be a virtual option available for those who may not be able to attend. And so if they want more information, they can visit our website at county.milwaukee.gov.
So one more meeting tonight, and you already had 2 of them. Real quickly here, we're running out of time, but what feedback did you get from those first 2 meetings?
Well, actually, more and more, the more we talk to people in the community, they realize that this is a hefty price tag and that it is it's definitely a sticker shock. But as we talk about the impacts on the criminal justice system and community justice, people absolutely are starting to understand why we need to tackle this issue. But I will tell you, people also understand that the more we wait, the more expensive it becomes for our taxpayers moving forward. And that's why we want to focus on the partnership and the collaboration with the state of Wisconsin to not only protect our taxpayers, but also to protect our public safety continuum right here in Milwaukee.
A lot of information. That's Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley, fresh off his State of the County address this morning. Always good to chat with you.
Thank you.
Time right now is 11:51.
Football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers. Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Many times, patients have symptoms they didn't know were actually related to their airway breathing issues.
I was suffering from sinus issues, jaw issues, and neck pain. I guess I just kind of had my breaking point.
Unfortunately, this is typical. But until you get to the root of your problem, it's going to just persist. Fortunately, Jody took action, and the results were typical as well.
My quality of life is so different, but one of the first things that I noticed was my breathing. I don't ever remember being able to breathe like that.
Being able to breathe freely is life-changing, and the effects can go beyond that.
Sleeping better, having more energy, and it seemed as if all of those symptoms that I had just melted away.
And thank heavens for that, because at Advent, results are what drive us, helping you breathe well so you can live better.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
The Lifetime Door Free Garage Door Contest is almost over. Time is running out to win a brand new garage door from Lifetime Door. Absolutely free. This contest ends March 31st. Don't miss the chance to win a stunning, high-quality garage door that will boost your home's curb appeal and value. Entering is easy. Text GARAGE to the WTMJ Talk and Text line, or just go to WTMJ.com and the entry form is on the very front page. It's just that simple. For contest rules, visit our website, WTMJ.com.
Lake Geneva is the Midwest's premier golf destination, featuring breathtaking views, crystal clear lakes, and rolling fairways. Treat yourself to an all-inclusive golf getaway with courses designed for all skill levels, luxurious lodging, distinctive dining, and a relaxing spa. Plan a Lake Geneva group golf outing, a corporate event, or a weekend getaway with friends or family. Their pros will help you plan a memorable golf experience. For info on courses and more, visit lakegeneva.com today. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for legendary golf.
It was not a marriage made in discount heaven. ABC's Sherry Preston with more of the breakup for Dollar Tree and Family Dollar.
In 2015, there was a bidding war between Dollar Tree and rival Dollar General for the third in the dollar franchises, Family Dollar. Dollar Tree won and acquired it for $8 billion. A decade later, unable to make the partnership work, Dollar Tree is selling Family Dollar to a pair of private equity firms for just $1 billion.
Is anything still a dollar at Family Dollar Family?
I can't imagine.
Dollar
For all
Tree?
the talk we do about inflation these last few years, I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been in one.
I definitely have. So when we used to go up north to Forest and Marinette County, that for a lot of communities is the only sort of grocery or convenience store that many people have.
See, and that is just sad because that to me is not really a grocery store. Like that's not where you go to get your fresh produce and your food, right? But I mean, we talk about food deserts too around, and that's a different story altogether.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 11:56 is the time. Coming up, we have a lot for you. We're going to talk about a Milwaukee business that just got a nomination for Best in the Country. Who's celebrating and how you can help them secure the top spot. Also, your top local stories and national news right after this.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Milwaukee Public Schools begin the week with more lead remediation, a new superintendent, and a court-ordered deadline.
Eric Billstad.
March in Wisconsin means snowfall and wildfires can happen just days apart.
And traffic with Debbie Loziga.
We've got eastbound 94 closed in Jefferson County.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors. Grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes working at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Tracy.
One of the things that enticed me about Three Pillars and wanting to work there was their stellar reputation and just being top rated. I got this job. I told people, I told family and friends and people I knew, and every single one of them was like, oh my gosh, you're going to love that place.
Find a rewarding career at threepillars.org.
When you want the best medical attention, you don't just go to anybody, you go to a specialist. The same should be true with your car or truck. I'm Jim Token, president of the Auto Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee. When your vehicle needs service, take it to a specialist, an Adam member new car dealer. Adam dealers use factory warranted parts, the latest diagnostic equipment, and certified manufacturer technicians specially trained on the advanced technology on your vehicle. They have all the latest manufacturer service bulletins and will know if your issue is covered by an existing warranty or if there are any recalls. And despite what you might assume, their prices are as low or lower than independent shops, even on routine maintenance and tires. Now, knowing all that, why would you even consider going anywhere other than an Adam member dealer?
For great paying job opportunities, visit adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Debbie Loziga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get $1,000 off your Luckstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
The Bucks are almost out of the woods, or mountains, of their West Coast trip against the Nuggets.
Spin move by Giannis and a big one-hand flush. He was a blur taking it down the lane, and the Greek Freak is putting on a show.
Our coverage starts tonight at 7:30. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's just afternoon. I'm Jessica Tighe. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Wednesday, March 26th. Your top story, mixed messages over the group chat fail.
I'm Adam Roberts, continuing to list priorities for state superintendent candidates.
Your forecast today, partly cloudy, high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Tonight, mostly cloudy and a chance for a shower later on, a low of 36. Right now, it's 38 degrees in downtown Milwaukee. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, officials are downplaying a security breach involving a journalist who was added to a chat between top cabinet members who were discussing attack plans in Yemen. Originally, the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg only published limited information, but since then, the White House has insisted the information shared during the group chat was not classified. CBS's Willie James Inman.
Pentagon spokesperson said in talking about that update that the Secretary of Defense posted, he said the Secretary was merely updating the group on a plan that was underway and had already been briefed through official channels. So the White House really just pushing back and criticizing the journalists and the publication involved in shedding light on these chats that were going on with these top officials talking about the Houthi attacks in Yemen.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard called the signal communication a mistake. President Trump called the leak a glitch.
Here at home, police investigating a death inside an old abandoned Milwaukee mall. Police finding a body on Tuesday inside the vacant building at Fond du Lac and North, this on the city's north side. The body has since been identified as that of 65-year-old Jeffrey Maline. The cause of his death still under investigation, but police do not suspect foul play.
Decision Wisconsin. The state superintendent candidates focus on reading. Incumbent candidate Dr. Jill Underley says the state needs more funding to support existing reading programs.
High standards for literacy and math, absolutely. High quality instruction, early childhood programming, special education, well-trained teachers, passionate teachers, after-school programs. We know what works.
Candidate Brittany Kinzer says the state needs to reintroduce phonics-based learning.
We have to make sure that we're using research and evidence-based curriculum, and we have to make sure that our teachers are trained, they've been educated on how to teach phonics.
Get out there and vote. Election Day is Tuesday.
President Trump has signed an executive order requiring voters to show proof of citizenship before they can register for federal elections. More from CBS's Scott McFarland.
There's been no evidence of widespread undocumented immigrant voting in federal elections. So if that is the cause for this executive order, it's built on a faulty foundation. That's the first concern. The other concern is this, that the courts seem inevitably set to weigh in on this. This is going to go to court. Lawsuits are imminent. And in fact, I've heard from the Pennsylvania Secretary of State, a Democrat, who says that President Trump does not have the ability or the power to get involved with those local decisions.
The executive order also mandates that all ballots must be received by Election Day or they will not get counted.
New technology this season at American Family Field.
Go-Ahead Entry is a facial recognition scan that creates a seamless entry experience.
You'll be able to keep your phone in your pocket. It will validate your ticket based on your facial authentication. You'll walk through screening. If you don't have a bag, you'd continue to keep your phone in your pocket.
Vice President of Stadium Operations, Steve Ethier.
So the software does not store your image. It converts it to a token.
Go-Ahead Entry will be available next week, Monday, on Brewers Opening Day. Nazir Spencer, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything is in the red. Everything is down this afternoon. The Dow is down 57 points to 42,530. S&P 500 is down 50 points to 5,726. And the NASDAQ is down nearly 304 points to 17,967. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com.
The Bucks wrap up a road trip tonight without a key piece. That plus the roads and your forecast next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times, 12:05.
Whether you're a local who wants to enjoy a night out or you're planning to visit Milwaukee, enjoy an artfully stylish experience at St. Kate the Arts Hotel, conveniently located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee's Theater District. With deluxe accommodations, culinary creativity, on-site art galleries, and nightly live music, you'll enjoy every element of your stay at St. Kate. For a limited time, enjoy exclusive seasonal rates starting at $139. Learn more and book your stay at stkatearts.com.
Let's take your inside living outside. Outdoor Living Unlimited puts cool stuff in your yard. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, even in-ground pools. You dream it, we design it together, then Outdoor Living Unlimited installs it for you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint, it's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The countdown is on to the start of baseball's regular season. The Brewers face the Yankees tomorrow afternoon for the first of 3 games at the Bronx. Freddie Peralta gets the start for the Brew Crew. And the Milwaukee Bucks ramp up their Western Conference road trip tonight in Denver against the Nuggets. And this is the bad news. Damian Lillard, he is out. He's dealing with a blood clot in his right calf. Bucks coverage starts tonight at 7:30 right here on WTMJ.
Checking the roads now, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Got a crash and it's off the freeway system, but very close to it. The exit off of 43 north at Keefe. We got a food truck that's missing a tire. Looks like it's rear right tire.
Not a food truck.
Got a food truck. Looks like a Mexican food truck.
Oh.
Tire off on the exit ramp from 43 to Keefe. So be mindful that they've got it coned off. So they'll work on getting that towed out of the way. But as you pass over that part of 43, Just don't be surprised if there's a food truck missing a wheel on the side of the road.
Somebody's not getting their lunch today now.
Also have some lane debris possible on 94 West at County F in Waukesha County. Looks like a semi is broken down on the right shoulder there.
And here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Today, partly cloudy, high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Tonight, mostly cloudy, chance for showers later on, low of 36. Tomorrow, isolated showers in the morning hours, mostly cloudy otherwise, high of 53 tomorrow. On Friday, we have a chance for rain in the morning hours, maybe even a storm or two, but it's going to be dry later on. High of 68 by the lake, 72 inland on Friday. Saturday, another chance for rain and storms, falling temps, high of 58. Sunday, a chance for showers again, and maybe even a mix possible Sunday night, a high of 44. It's currently 38 in Milwaukee.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Tighe, and in for Greg Matzik, it's Adam Roberts.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. When you said it's a food truck that's involved in an incident on the highway, I mean, it's all stopped because it's a food truck and a Mexican food truck. Those are some of the best ones you see out there.
Yeah, we kid, but I do feel horrible for this person that's now dealing with this.
Well,
'cause
yeah.
Running a food truck, not an easy gig in and of itself when everything's working normally. And I'm watching the cameras right now, and yeah, that tire is just kind of sitting out. The thing's not laying on its side, but definitely slanted.
And you know there are people who are waiting for lunch right now because those food trucks, you get a favorite and you know where they're going and when they're going to be there and you make sure you're there. So that's a big bummer. We'll get the latest on the food truck incident in just a bit. But first, your top stories.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
The entire chat is now published in response to the White House's argument that none of the information shared on a commercial messaging app was classified. The Atlantic has now published all of the text messages its editor-in-chief was included on. The chain featured top Trump administration officials discussing a U.S. strike on the Houthis in Yemen. ABC's national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
The Atlantic says it went forward with publishing the text chain after first advising the White House. The latest piece quotes Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt objecting to the release of what she called an internal and private deliberation, adding sensitive information was discussed. Still, the administration maintains none of it was classified and none of it amounted to war plans. But the text chain that's now been published shows Defense Secretary Hegseth listing the specific aircraft, missile, and drone systems to be used for the attack, as well as a minute-by-minute tick-tock of the planned waves of strikes.
Yeah, there are definitely some specifics in there. When Goldberg published the text today, he included a note saying if this information had gotten into the wrong hands, it would have put American personnel at great risk. And stay with us because coming up at 12:30, you know, we always check in on Wednesdays with CBS congressional correspondent Scott McFarland. So we'll dive into this, what exactly the messages say, how the White House is responding, and then the top officials who are testifying today because of this.
Back to Washington, where a significant ruling has been handed down from the U.S. Supreme Court today. That ruling upholding a previous ruling requiring ghost guns to be treated the same as fully assembled firearms. Now, this decision came down on a 7-2 vote in the majority for the court. ABC's Devin Dwyer with the details.
A significant decision here at a time when the nation is facing a crisis of ghost guns. Those are the untraceable weapons that most often are made at home from kits or homemade parts. It makes it difficult for police to track, but also we're seeing a rise in criminals and teenagers simply buying these online with no age checks, no background checks, basically no restrictions.
During a big investigation back in January, so not long ago, the West Dallas Police Department arrested 19 people for drug trafficking, and a ghost gun was among the items they recovered. Investigators also confiscated, some drugs and other firearms.
And Wisconsin, while it's specifically the state does not have a law banning these ghost guns, they have supported efforts from the federal level to regulate these guns and making sure that law enforcement can at least trace where these self-made guns are being sent to.
Well, delete your account to make sure your personal data gets erased. That's a chorus from attorney generals from across the U.S. to anyone who has used genetic testing company 23andMe. 23andMe filed for bankruptcy this week after agreeing to pay $30 million that stemmed from a 2023 data breach. ABC's Aaron Katursky with what you need to know.
The company promises to safeguard information, insisting there are no changes to the way the company stores, manages, or protects consumer data. But 23andMe filed for bankruptcy because it could not recover from a data breach in 2023 that exposed 7 million user profiles. Makers of home DNA kits like 23andMe are not subject to HIPAA laws that assure medical privacy.
So if you use 23andMe and you're concerned, log in, delete your data, and request that your DNA samples be destroyed. At one point, so many users were trying to do that the site looked like it went down for a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And during our last hour, by the way, we had an in-depth discussion about 23andMe and the privacy concerns surrounding genetic testing companies. If you missed it, you can check it out on our podcast sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. You can text Midday to the WTMJ Talk and Text line, and we'll send you a link to our podcast page. But Gina always does a great job getting it up right away, all those segments, and that was a good one.
855-616-1620, text Midday.
Coming up, we are located right in the middle of 3rd Street Market Hall. It's a really cool place to be, and you're going to find out next why other people think it's so great.
When you're up in the Mile High City, it's important to be aware of flying objects, especially when we come to town.
Lift off. Spin move by Giannis in a big one-hand flush.
The Bucks head up to Denver to take on the Nuggets.
He was a blur taking it down the lane, and the Greek Freak is putting on a show early tonight.
Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 7:30. We are the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
Come on in and take advantage of Fleet Farm Member Appreciation Days, March 20th through the 26th. Fleet Rewards members can take an extra 10% off qualifying purchases, in-store and online. Not a member? Sign up to get your discount now. The extra 10% is our way of thanking you for being a loyal Fleet Rewards member. So stock up on everything you need during Member Appreciation Days, now through Wednesday, and enjoy even more savings at Fleet Farm. Some restrictions apply.
Well, how about this? 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee is a finalist for USA Today's Best Food Halls in the country. An expert panel chose 20 food halls, and now the people get to vote. The owner of 3rd Street Market Hall, Omar Sheikh, joins us live in the studio to give us the lowdown and highlight what's new at the market. Congrats on this nomination.
Well, thanks, but now we have to win it.
Yeah, but you know what? This is the first step, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so how did you learn that the Market Hall was nominated? And did the expert panel explain why they chose 3rd Street Market Hall as a finalist?
They didn't. It just, to be honest with you, I was sick, and I remember my partner and our general manager, management team, they were sending it to me, and they said, hey, we have a few hours to get this voting done. And so I went and scrambled, started texting everybody. Then you realize we had 27 days left. It's
you thought it had to be that day?
Right. So I was like so sick on my bed, trying to scramble to do social media and everything else like that. So I learned from them. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how they selected, to be honest, either.
Well, I did check out the expert panel. It includes a bunch of food writers and journalists, so they know their stuff. Yeah. You're biased, but why do you think 3rd Street Market Hall is the best?
Well, we toured 70, 80 food halls across America, and we kind of took the best elements of each. And then we really incorporated from other types of concepts, a lot of gaming and shuffleboard and bag toss and things of that nature. So I think we were pretty unique when we first launched this to be a very unique food hall in America. And I think we've done things right. And I think I really do believe we're in the top 5, top 10, but I think we're one of the best, and I hope we win.
You mentioned that you took inspiration or were studying all of these other market halls that you went to. Was there one in particular in a community that you went, I want whatever they're doing here? I like that. I want that.
Yeah, I think we really loved DeKalb in Brooklyn. But then again, so we did a lot of our own elements from the other places as well. But one thing about DeKalb was there were a lot of hidden corners, and so you can kind of walk and experience it. And it was the first food hall that we went to that we could actually spend a couple hours in. A lot of other food halls is just transactional. You go and you get your food and you leave. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to create more of an experience, and that we really had a lot of takeaway from DeKalb in Brooklyn.
Now, part of that experience could be you get your food, you get a cocktail, you play some games, and then you come over here to see us. And we call this the Big Fishbowl here, and you can watch our show.
People talk about it all the time. I mean, or if they just discover it and they walk by and they're like, what is going on in there? And
right?
But it's so cool.
It is really cool. Sometimes it's a little freaky, right? Don't you get a little, you're like, who's peering in over there?
I'm usually over in the newsroom, and sometimes there'll just be someone just standing stock still like, what is going on?
I've seen it.
Can I help you with something?
Okay, we need to make sure that people know how to vote. How can they vote? How can they make sure that 3rd Street Market Hall gets that top spot?
Yeah, so it's on USA Today, and so it's just 10best.usatoday.com. And then you'll scroll through and find the food hall there, best food hall.
You can Google it too. That'll come up.
Yeah.
2 new restaurants are coming to the market hall this spring. What can people expect for those?
Yeah, so the Chinese concept that we had is the lease went up, and so now there's some individuals that are going to be doing kind of a Korean Asian fusion type concept there. We have one of our vendors now that are going to replace the smoothies, but the smoothies are going now to be served on the other side with the salads, and they're going to do a kreta, which is a concept that's Mediterranean, so featuring gyros and fries and ice cream and things like that.
Can we dive into the business?
There's one more though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the Kawa on the very end of Kawa.
I love Kawa.
They're doing a bubble waffle concept.
Ooh.
So you'll be able to see it coming in from that 3rd Street entrance.
Okay. Some people are like, "Oh, I love bubble waffles." Other people are like, "What is a bubble waffle?"
Well, think of a waffle that's created sort of as a cone with some ice cream inside.
Oh.
It's actually really delicious. Yeah.
Oh, ice cream inside the waffle. Okay,
yeah,
you got
fan.
us there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into the business of food halls because change is not a sign of a bad thing. I mean, the concept really revolves around change to a point, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you have to keep your staples because people are going to get upset if one of the staples leaves. But we like keeping things fresh here. So originally we had longer term leases. Now we just have 18-month leases. And so people really appreciate different varieties. I mean, you guys are here in the building. You're here every day.
Yeah.
So you're going to need a variety over time, right? And just not having the same vendors. And so, some vendors aren't performing as well as others. Some are performing well and they want to have their own brick and mortar. So it really depends. And it gives us options to, rotate.
As someone who facilitates a market hall, I have to imagine when you get a spot that opens up and you put out maybe like an RFP, a request for proposal or something similar, and then you get these applications that come in. What are you looking for from people who apply to be in this space that makes them stand out from the pack?
It's really one, that they're good operators. We've taken chances on operators that we thought would be good, and if they can't control their food costs or don't provide a certain level of hospitality, it does hurt the hall. And so we have to maintain our standards of good food that will bring long-term sustainability, but also they have to be really nice and hospitable to the customers. And a lot of the times, if they're not running their business right, they're under a lot of stress and their costs aren't in line, so they don't focus on that side. And just really good people that will be great to fit into this climate and in this community.
Do you have a list of businesses that would like to be in here when somebody moves out, or are people seeking you out when it happens?
We have a waiting list, yeah.
Ooh, who's on that waiting list?
We have different concepts. I mean, there's one that wanted to come in and bring like a K-Cafe that we talked with yesterday, like sort of a Korean like market type place. We have Indian. We have a lot of different places that want to come in here. We had a Thai, yeah.
I'll vouch for Indian restaurants coming to the market hall because make no mistake, I love the options we have. Kawa, also a favorite of mine, but I just always sometimes get that craving for tikka masala or just some other dish
Me
like
too.
a korma, and I just want it. So if you get a good proposal for an Indian restaurant, it's got my vote.
We do, and I think that would be the next logical one once one vendor moves out, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found that there are certain things that work better in a food hall in downtown Milwaukee than others, just because we do tend to like hyper-local here?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all our vendors, it is local, right? And every single one of them are. And so I think people really appreciate that, and they want to support local here, too.
I noticed, too, because I follow you guys on social media and Instagram, it seems like you're diving into more unique experiences. I saw something the other day. It was like the Barrel Room Bottle Club and Full Service Fridays in the Starlight Room. What are you guys doing in return for those?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of programming here. So, sometimes you have your bingo. Over at the Barrel Room, what we're really focusing on is are the barrel, sort of a club, if you will. We get a lot of allocation of great bourbons, and so we're doing a lot of different types of tastings and things of that nature. And if you join the club, there's benefits to that. We are building another bar on the other side by the beer wall. And so that is when we get really busy on weekends. It's hard when you want to get, like, there's 4 deep at the bar and you want to get a drinks and take it over to that area. It's a little inconvenient. So we're having some cocktailers now, cocktail waitresses or waiters, and have a bar for more convenience for the customer on that side. So,
speaking of beer, we have Brewers home opening day coming up next Monday out at American Family Field, and I know that the 3rd Street Market Hall has an annex over there along the right field line. Yep. What's the latest for that project this year?
Yeah, just business as usual, and just they did a tasting yesterday. Kawa is exiting the annex, but Kreta, the Mediterranean Euro concept, is going in there.
Okay.
And they did a tasting yesterday, and everyone was kind of blown away with the Euro. So we'll have that here, coming here soon to the hall, but then also at the annex.
How was the weekend for the NCAA tourney with Milwaukee hosting? I know I walked out Friday night after work, and it was just packed. I mean, Kentucky fans everywhere. I saw a couple Iowa State fans, but how was the weekend as a whole?
It was awesome. I mean, it was just a great flow, and shout out to Shane from Good Karma for introducing me to the folks at the Kentucky radio station, because they packed the house in here. It was just a great flow, a lot of great people, and it was just awesome.
What feedback do you get? Because I imagine people here from out of town are like, this is a great place. What do you hear?
No, a lot of great feedback. I mean, people I've realized over the years, they're not shy to tell me how they really feel, whether it be Carnivore or any of our concepts. We're batting at a very high percentile, and sometimes if it gets really busy, the wait times are a little bit longer, right? But people understand how busy it is, and so we're just working on those types of efficiencies. But it's really great feedback, and people just really appreciate this project is here.
When a place is busy and it's packed, it's good. That's key. Omar, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming on. A reminder to get out there and vote, because 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee is a finalist for USA Today's best food halls in the country. We love that.
Yes, please.
Love local. Time right now is coming up on 12:26. Right after this, we're going to have your top local stories and national news as well. It's a big day out there.
Painting your house is a big job. You want it done right. John Mercure here. Do what I did. Go with the professionals, the best in the business at Serta Pro Painters. They do inside, they do outside, and they do it right every single time. As a matter of fact, right now, they've got a spring sales event going on through May 15th. Each Serta Pro Painters business is independently owned and operated, and they do everything the right way. Schedule your free estimate online right now at CertaPro.com. That's Serta with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose Serta Pro Painters.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. With the trending spring and summer European travel season, Fox European experts mean you can maximize your time soaking up the warm weather, blooming flowers, and vibrant landscapes without worrying about your travel or missing a moment. Port hop along the Mediterranean with Celebrity or Holland America, or design your own bucket list adventure with Globus. Visit us online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. Your European immersion awaits.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
The Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center is here in New Berlin, and it's ready for you and your team. From little leaguers to hardcore players and trainers, this is the place you'll want to be.
You can't beat Burghardt.
From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to AdventKnows.com.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Siding is what pops on your home. Clean lines, beautiful accents, and wonderful colors can make your home really look amazing. Homeowners are always looking to add curb appeal when buying new siding, and a well-installed product from Siding Unlimited will definitely deliver a grand appeal. There is so much more to gain from replacing your siding other than the curb appeal you're already seeking. There is so much value in having new siding with low maintenance. Just an annual cleaning with the hose is all you really need to do. You can't get much lower maintenance than that. The process of replacing siding gives homeowners a fresh start, a new understanding knowing that we can peel back the old stuff and get a real in-depth inspection on the walls on your home and the structural integrity. How has the home performed over the past 20 years? We'll see it all when removing the old siding. There's a high percentage your home is missing the most important factor in siding a home, and that's a working water barrier. Many homes built in the 1990s and prior don't have a water barrier beneath the siding, and homes that were built in the 90s that do have one probably have a water barrier that was installed incorrectly. New siding replacement assures us that we install the water barrier correctly and protect the home moving forward. Our process always includes adding insulation board to the wall. This gives you a water barrier underlayment and additional R value, which is an energy coefficient, so warmer walls, adding more value to the project than the expected curb appeal. As the new siding goes back on, we know your home will be ready to manage water well into the future and look amazing doing so.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for siding and also replacement windows, roofing, and decks. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Milwaukee Public Schools begin the week with more lead remediation, a new superintendent, and a court-ordered deadline.
Eric Billstad.
March in Wisconsin means snowfall and wildfires can happen just days apart.
And traffic with Debbie Loziga.
We've got eastbound 94 closed in Jefferson County.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
It's 12:30. I'm Jessica Tighe. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Wednesday, March 26. Your top story, charged with felony burglary.
I'm Adam Roberts. A recall affecting a popular soda.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump's latest round of executive orders includes one aimed at overhauling the elections with new ID requirements. Election experts say it would block tens of millions from voting. ABC's Olivia Rubin has more.
Something that Trump talks about frequently is non-citizens voting in elections and how this is all aimed at cutting that down. But we've done a lot of work looking into this, and there just isn't evidence that there's widespread non-citizen votings here. We've looked at recent audits. Take Georgia, a Republican state that Trump won, for example, did an audit, announced the results just before the election in 2024, and they found just 20 non-citizens on the voter rolls in a roll of over 8 million.
The White House continuing to downplay the text chat between top Trump cabinet members that mistakenly included a journalist as they discussed U.S. strikes on Yemen, saying there was no classified information released. South Korea fire crews continue to battle wildfires that have destroyed at least 200 structures. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News time is 12:31.
Charged with felony burglary in an officer-involved shooting, 34-year-old Orlando Lagar tried to break into a warehouse on March 8th near 32nd and Villard on Milwaukee's northwest side. Police eventually chased him and a 41-year-old man down, shooting at both along the train tracks at 37th and Lancaster. The 41-year-old man died.
New affordable housing and key partnerships. Some of the key points during the State of the County address delivered by Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley earlier today. County Executive on Wisconsin's Midday News.
We have to tackle housing from two fronts. We have to tackle it from the affordability side for individuals who can't quite afford to live in certain neighborhoods. But we also have to target the market rate side as well, because there are individuals who are making enough money to pay and rent on their own or buy their own home.
County Executive Crowley is saying housing is a building block for building the population within Milwaukee County.
Multiple banks are closing across Wisconsin. Here in our area, the U.S. Bank branch inside the St. Camillus Retirement Center at 102nd and Blue Mound will close on February 6th. So will the U.S. Bank location at 26 in Wisconsin in Milwaukee. That one is set to close on May 7th. The Wells Fargo Bank location in downtown Milwaukee will close on June 11th. In total, 7 bank branches in the state and more than 320 bank Branches nationwide will close in the first quarter of 2025.
The longtime city attorney in Sheboygan stepping down from his post. Charles Adams telling the city administrator of his decision to retire last week. This follows a city council meeting where members discussed a report related to conduct and the performance of Adams completed by an outside firm. The city will not be taking any formal action on the information discussed in their closed session. Adams had been city attorney in Sheboygan since 2015.
Check those cans of soda. The Food and Drug Administration is recalling 12 packs of original Coca-Cola sold in Wisconsin and Illinois because they may be contaminated with plastic. More than 10,000 cans of the affected product were bottled and distributed by Reyes Coca-Cola Bottling here in Milwaukee. The recall impacts nearly 900 cases sold earlier this month. No injuries or illnesses reported so far.
Opening day at American Family Field less than a week away, and the Brewers are rolling out a new concession area called The Alley with a focus on food truck vendors. Brewers president for business operations Rick Schlesinger on WTMJ's Wisconsin's Afternoon News detailing what's on the menu this season.
We've got I just went there today, and it's all ready to go for opening day, which is always nice when you announce something and it's ready to go. It's going to be great. We've got food trucks, we've got Italian food, we've got tacos, we've got some steak sandwiches, we've got gelato, we've got a really nice bar.
The Alley Food Truck Park will be located inside the ballpark in the left field loge level.
Can't wait for the Brewers home opener and opening day for MLB. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
The most common reason pain sufferers come to us is to be able to perform their daily tasks without suffering through them. Grandparents who want to be able to take their grandkids on walks and to the park. Or those that just want to be able to get out of their vehicle with more ease than pain. Rejuvenex pain treatments can help, and the sooner you get to calming down that pain, the better it will be. These are powerful, FDA-approved pain treatments precisely administered with an extremely small needle to get to the root of your pain. And before you know it, you'll feel the anti-inflammatory power of Toradol and the cushioning relief of hyaluronic acid. Positive patient results are regularities, not rarities. And we do this conveniently in office, so it's very easy for you. And we're in network with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, which could mean zero out-of-pocket costs for your pain relief treatment.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Your stress-free spring break trip starts in your driveway with Go Right Way, Wisconsin's largest chauffeured fleet. Start your vacation as soon as you leave your house by letting Go Right Way handle your rides to and from Mitchell Field or O'Hare. Luggage? Go Right Way has it. Traffic? Go Right Way handles it. Parking hassles? You won't miss them. Go Right Way's professional, on-time chauffeurs are background checked and their vehicles are premium and meticulously cleaned. Your journey starts with a ride you can trust. Book your ride today at GoRightWay.com.
Save up to 50% on the project, then save so much more on your energy costs. Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Apply for multiple generous rebate programs that can cut the cost of home insulation in half. Jeff and his team perform an energy audit to help you qualify. Then the project, filling your walls with quieting, filtering, insulating foam that saves you money on heating and cooling from day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The countdown is on to the start of baseball's regular season. The Milwaukee Brewers face the Yankees tomorrow afternoon for the first of 3 games in the Bronx. Freddie Peralta gets the start for the Brew Crew. And the Milwaukee Bucks wrap up their Western Conference road trip tonight in Denver against the Nuggets. Damian Lillard is unfortunately out. He's dealing with a blood clot in his right calf. Bucks coverage starts tonight at 7:30 right here on WTMJ.
Let's check the roads now. Your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic. Quick update on our food truck situation off of 43 North on the exit to Keefe. It's still there, missing a tire and slanted over to its right side. It's not on the freeway specifically, but you will encounter that as you exit, so be mindful if that is your point of exit off of 43. Elsewhere, just a smattering of broken down vehicles and really no delays, light volume and full freeway speeds across the system.
Checking out your forecast today, partly cloudy, high of 45 by the lake, 52 inland. Tonight, mostly cloudy and a chance for rain later on, low of 36. Tomorrow, we have a chance for rain. Some of you will see it, some won't. In the morning hours, mostly cloudy otherwise. High of 53. Friday, another chance for rain, possibly a storm or two, too. Dry in the later half of the day. High of 68 by the lake, 72 inland. Saturday, a chance for showers and storms and falling temps. High of 58. Sunday, a chance for showers again and maybe even a mix. It's now up to 40 degrees in downtown Milwaukee. This might be a tough one. I don't know this one, but let's check in with our CBS congressional correspondent, Scott McFarland, who is also just the expert when it comes to 80s and 90s R&B. Did we stump you yet, Scott?
Jessica, it's always nice to talk to you and Adam. It's not nice that you doubt me.
Yeah.
It's not nice that you don't have the faith and trust that is Immature's Never Lie from 1994.
Look at that. I don't doubt you, Scott. I don't doubt you at all. I'm just waiting for the day that we stump you. It's got to happen at some point, and I don't know when that's coming, but...
The problem is it's actually not a terribly good song, but I know it anyhow. It's sometimes that's true. Bad music and good music.
You know what? You're right. Now that you say that, it's not one of those that I'm like snapping to or I got to keep on playing. So we're going to cut that. We do have a lot to talk about today. You are our expert, not only on 80s and 90s R&B, but everything happening on Capitol Hill in D.C. This is a big day today. The entire chat is now published. The Atlantic magazine published screenshots of all the messages from that Signal chat involving top national security officials. Scott, what do these text messages say and how detailed are they?
Yeah, these messages detail a timeline for when certain aircraft were going to be in certain places and certain targets were going to be focused upon on the day of the successful attack against the Houthis, which was about 2 weeks ago. The texts are released one day after some members of the Trump security team testified on Capitol Hill as an effort to minimize this, saying nothing confidential, nothing in terms of war plans were discussed in this Signal chat that somehow got to a reporter. And I think the release of the examples of some of the messages run counter to that. It does seem to be some type of military plan, easily characterized by critics as a war plan. And you got a couple different issues here now, Jessica. You have a political issue, which is not going away. And then you have the what happens next issue. Is there going to be some type of firing or some type of lawsuit, some type of investigation? That's a tougher question. The FBI director was asked today if he's going to undertake any investigation into this, and he kind of begged off answering the question, saying this is all new information to him. And there's certainly members of Congress that want an investigation as to whether laws or rules were broken or whether things were exposed. It's hard to see if those get off the ground. But we know for sure, Adam and Jessica, there's a political problem for the administration. They're talking about a topic they don't want to discuss for a second day.
And we're seeing all day today on TV the Intelligence Committee back and forth between members. And the other interesting thing, Scott, is this presents a journalistic integrity question. The Atlantic has now put this article that's on their website behind a paywall, but it was up there earlier today for everyone to comb through. And they mentioned, we had to kind of decide, what are we going to do with this information? What are we hearing from Washington about that critical call to post those images?
Some of the reaction was predictable. I think you could have made a firm commitment to the Trump team disparaging the reporter. The president and his top allies are rarely, inhibited from criticizing mainstream media. I mean, they're usually unequivocal with their denunciations of most mainstream outlets, and they have been so with the reporter behind this, Jeffrey Goldberg, the director of The Atlantic. That'll continue, and it's continuing with some of Trump's allies. But there is a journalistic ethics question here. At what point do you beg off or stay in that Signal chat? At what point do you post the information or not post the information? I think The Atlantic has argued today, Adam, that they feel liberated to post this information because unambiguously yesterday, the Trump security team said this was not classified information and should be shared in the Signal chat. Well, if that's the case, then there should be no problem with it appearing in the magazine or online.
Right. I mean, the White House basically kind of gave the go-ahead with that, saying this is not classified. But it's interesting because the White House has been kind of massaging the message. What is the latest with what the White House has said? And then also you've got this intel hearing today where Trump's top people are being grilled about the chat. What are they saying?
They're trying a multi-front attack against this. Again, one of the things they're doing consistently, Jessica, is criticizing the reporter, calling the reporter a sensationalist or a liberal or a radical. And they've used the term liberal and radical to categorize a lot of people they're frustrated with, from federal judges to private attorneys to media. They're also suggesting that this was a mistake, but one that didn't incur damage, and that the mission was successful against the Houthis in mid-March. We'll see what else they try, because the first 24 hours have not diffused this political bomb. The first 24 hours have not stopped the bad coverage. They may want to try a different approach if they expect this to end anytime soon.
Scott, I wanted to play you a clip from earlier today. Representative Jim Hines from Connecticut was leading the conversation. Let's listen in.
I think that it's by the awesome grace of God that we are not mourning dead pilots right now.
What does this mean for national security's future? Because they've got to be reassessing, okay, what do we do, and do we have to rethink our whole communication strategy behind the scenes?
Yeah, and Jim Himes is the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee and comes at this with a unique amount of credibility. It's not just about Signal and how encrypted Signal is and how well we can keep our messages secret in Signal. And for those who don't use Signal, it's often used for people who don't trust doing things by text message, that they want to have another layer of encryption in what they're doing. And if you use Signal, it feels a lot like text messaging. It's like you put your contact's name in there, you send out the message, and he or she reaches you back. You can make a group chat, and you can get all kinds of back and forth. It feels like text messages. It feels so much like text messages. You could see somebody mistakenly adding a person to a Signal chat that shouldn't be in there. But that's only part of the issue, Adam. I mean, there is a much more pernicious concern that foreign enemies have a unique ability to see inside our Signal messages in the United States, if not the devices of some key players in the U.S. This is no way to conduct any type of business where you expose plans for military, because, as Congressman Himes said, by the grace of God, nobody died here, despite that information being vulnerable.
Scott, I'm curious if you thought about what you would have done if you were accidentally put on this group chat, because I was thinking about what I would have done. And initially, I think I would have seen this and thought, this can't be real, right? There's no way this is possibly real. And then I definitely would have just kept on it and watched there as those texts came in.
And that's what the journalist, Jeff Goldberg, said this morning in an interview. He goes, at first I thought this was some scheme. Somebody was playing with me, pranking with me, trying to entrap me. There's no way this can be true. And after a while, you have to try to get your bearings. Is this real? Yeah. Is this right? But I think what the journalist has been saying is that he realized there was some integrity to these messages when the bombs started dropping at the very time that the messages predicted they would drop. You're going to come down to a more fundamental question at the end of the day, Jessica. We've heard multiple members of the White House team say they're going to have Elon Musk and the big brains figure out how this could have happened. I'm not sure what kind of diagnosis you need from tech experts when somebody gets mistakenly added to a group chat. I don't know that you need a deep forensic review or experts in technology. I think somebody mistakenly added somebody to a text that shouldn't have been there.
Right, they clicked
like
on the wrong person. Reply all.
And many of us have been guilty of sending an errant text or email to people that shouldn't be looped in. We don't blame the technology. We blame the person who sent it.
And then usually you get a message back that says, I think you've got the wrong person.
Or sometimes it's even scarier when you don't.
I wanted to switch gears a little bit, too, because this is another big one. A significant ruling came down from the U.S. Supreme Court today on ghost guns, untraceable guns that are made at home with kits or 3D printers. Some people hear a case about guns and think the case probably has to do with the Second Amendment, but that wasn't so. Can you break this case down for us?
This one's a little different, and this is a Biden-era regulation on ghost guns and ghost gun kits. What the Biden administration was trying to do was regulate the kits that allow people to get the parts and then use the parts to assemble the guns from online sellers. This was a pretty overwhelming ruling by this Supreme Court standard, 7-2, making the argument here that this is not so much a gun issue as a parts kit issue. And the justices deemed that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the federal government, has the power and ability to regulate the kits, even though the kits have some connective tissue to guns themselves. But that's not the end of this. The Trump administration can still try to rescind this rule, take it off the books. And if they take it off the books, then the Supreme Court ruling is somewhat moot. But you talk to any police chief. You go any police chief in the state, any police chief in the county, they'll tell you they're concerned about ghost guns. And whether they support regulations or not is a different issue. But the concern of public safety is there.
You kind of beat me to the punch there, Scott. I was just going to ask you if the president would just try to override this, as it seems has become the case whenever something doesn't go necessarily the way he would like it to do.
Yeah, I think that's a fair instinct. And the ATF is the one that oversees this regulation. The ATF doesn't have a real director right now. The president put the FBI director, Kash Patel, in charge of that agency, which is a statement that the agency has lost its importance. The agency is something he's not making a priority, and the agency may be prone to getting stripped down. That's also consistent, Adam, with the president stripping down the regulations they execute.
I mean, these ghost guns, they're a concern. We just had a big investigation here locally back in January. The West Dallas Police Department arrested 19 people for drug trafficking. And, of course, they recovered a ton of guns. A ton of drugs, I think it was heroin and cocaine. But then they also got firearms, and they also found a ghost gun among them. So, I mean, this is happening here in our local communities.
Yeah, and if you talk to a police chief, odds are this is atop the list or near the top of the list of concerns to public safety, not just the people having firearms who should not just felons having firearms who should not, but these types of difficult-to-trace ghost guns, which can be, to a degree, handmade. And the potential they have to wreak havoc is untold, and it's a pressing concern. So let's see if there's a political downside to pulling back a regulation on those.
Scott, I also wanted to ask you what this is about. I saw on your Instagram, no, actually it was on Twitter, which is now X, the sign that you spotted, Fire Elon, Save Elmo.
There is a hearing today, Jessica, in the U.S. House about whether the government should strip funding for PBS and National Public Radio. Republicans believe that the content of those two public broadcasters may be too liberal or shouldn't be funded by taxpayers. The public should pay for this and maybe just go to YouTube to get educational videos. And Democrats have pushed back, saying Elon Musk does not deserve our money, that Elmo deserves our money. Of course, Elmo is a nickname often used for Elon, but put that aside. One Democrat, I think, channeled a lot of parents when he criticized this defunding effort when he said, my kids can go to YouTube and watch educational videos. They're going to see a lot of crap there, too. A lot of ads, a lot of stuff I don't want them seeing on their way to get the educational videos.
Sure.
If you put your kid in front of PBS, you know there's at least something wholesome on each side of the broadcast.
I was looking at a Washington Post article, and the featured image on this is the representative from California, Robert Garcia, testifying earlier today, and there's just a guy holding a picture of a giant big bird on a piece of poster board. Scott, what's the most absurd thing you've ever seen held up in one of these meetings behind someone who's speaking?
That's a great question, and there are so many. I think I'm going to go with what's most inappropriate. Some people will bring cardboard cutouts of guns to hearings about the issue, and that's political speech. And I understand the value of visuals, but when we start brandishing a cutout of a gun, you can do so in a menacing way, and I always find that to be the most troubling. But people are trying to get attention during these hearings, people who are the members of Congress and the spectators, and they think those visuals are effective at doing it. Some of them go way over the line, and I will add this. There was somebody, I think, who brought a naked photo of Hunter Biden to one of those hearings last year, and it was ruled out of order, and it was totally out of order.
I would hope so.
Nobody needs that. Well, even if we keep Elon, still save Elmo. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much. At CBS congressional correspondent Scott McFarland. We'll chat next week.
Good talking to you both.
It's 12:51.
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you need but the water. For over 50 years, boaters have found that to be true. Because when they've needed that old part they thought they'd never find, guess what? They found it here, along with everything else you need to keep your boat out there on the water. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey boaters!
Well, if you have an old boat, new boat, or in between, then Kendor Marine is a great place for you to shop. Because not only do we have all the parts and accessories you need for almost any kind of boat, we also have the expert advice that just about any boater is one day gonna need. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
$1 doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
If restaurants don't seem as busy to you, you're right. As many Americans continue to pull back on their spending, restaurant sales continue to go down. Industry insiders say they're down more than 2% after adjusting for inflation from a year ago.
I won't mince words. I will say that, yes, it's been a slow, in fact, in the restaurant economy the past 5 to 6 months. And hopefully this pullback we see will indeed be temporary.
Consumer confidence has dropped to a 12-year low, with many Americans worried about tariffs and inflation. That's according to the latest data from the Conference Board. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people, you go to the grocery store and your receipt when you're walking out is sometimes, whoo, look at that. Look how much I paid for that. And then going out to dinner. I mean, a lot of people think going out to dinner is expensive as it is, and it is. But I'll tell you what, I love a good meal out.
Yeah, I know that's one of the first things when you're planning for your monthly budget and you're looking at ways that you can cut out some extra spending. Unfortunately, the night out is usually one of the first things, but I mean, we do it for a reason. It should be a special occasion.
Well, and we have so many great restaurants here in the Milwaukee area and really across Wisconsin. But I mean, the Milwaukee area specifically has really grown the restaurant scene
100%
in over the last few years. So it's just awesome. But if you think about, okay, the prices at your favorite restaurant going up, and then remember during our last hour of Wisconsin's Midday News, we talked about the price of wine, how you could be spending at some point $36 for a glass of wine.
Can't do it.
Oh, gosh. We're going to have to cut out the wine at our meals out.
No way.
Thanks so much for joining us. Greg is back on Monday for Brewers Home Opener. That's going to be fantastic. In the meantime, have a great afternoon. I'll see you for news in just a few.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Milwaukee Public Schools begin the week with more lead remediation, a new superintendent, and a court-ordered deadline.
Eric Billstad.